fight fans? Welcome to the Zapata Brand podcast, Boxing Edition, brought to you by Ringside. Go to ringside.com/podcast, and you too can get upwards of 40% off selected brands. Well, Coach Diz, we are back. Whoa, look out now. I'm getting to be a rookie on this.
Oh, Percy.
Trying to get look is going on. Now you're
what's going on? See, this is
there
what
you go.
happens when it's
There it
live.
is. When you go live, this is what happens. And I'm trying to see if we're not going live for anything in particular. We're just trying to get. We're going to go over the recap of the weekend. I did drop a video about my Vegas trip. Some of the stuff I didn't get to the boxing stuff. I just didn't. It was because I was trying to get this stuff up and running. As you can see,
I've been out of the loop as well. I've been out of the loop as well for about 2 weeks. So we both been have a little vacation and.
You had your vacation the week before, prior to you got back when I was middle on my way back. So it kind of worked out because you could have came to the store if I needed you. I didn't. Did you come in?
No.
Okay.
I called them every day to see, but they were good. We must have stocked them before you went.
Yeah, we did pretty good actually. We stocked it pretty well before that. I obviously we're gonna go over my trip to Vegas.
It's funny. I haven't really talked to you about it, really. You've been so busy. I've been busy for the last week, but so
it was a total. Well, let's put it this way: getting there is a total fiasco. A flight, travel, just in general, is a nightmare. Just an absolute nightmare.
Now, let me ask you this: do you think they would have treated you different? You first class?
No, it wasn't so much that. It was that was my choice. But looking back at it now. For the first class trip, the space wasn't that much more than what I was dealing with. It wasn't that much more. So what was it? We're going to pay an extra $1,000 to have this much more space. It wasn't worth it. Actually, it just wasn't in the long run. It wasn't worth the extra $1,000. That wasn't the whole point, though. Mm-hmm. I wanted to go because I wanted to get there because I wanted to see Kevin. Kevin was taking me up to UFC headquarters. We had lunch and what have you. So that was the reason why I was going.
I'm just going to tell you this right now. If I was there, Dana would have sat down on the show right away.
Yeah. Well, no, it's funny you say that because that's what Kevin said. He said, no, if Coach Diz was there. Different story. But let's get to the vacation, getting there and getting back. Getting there, they make it difficult for you guys and I said this on the show before. Mm-hmm. Do you realize we have to take basically undress to get on a plane? That's how bad it is now. With the luggage things, you got to tag everything and then get to the front. TSA, the line is a mile long. You have to get through that line and then get in and out as fast as possible, in and out, because you're going to miss a plane. You got to get there 3 hours ahead of time. So the whole day itself, 3 hours to get there, 5 to travel on a plane, 5 hours, 20 minutes. And then you're just, you're there. It's uncomfortable.
You would think that with technology now, like the NFL doing face recognition in the stands.
Well, funny you say that. Because when we went to Philadelphia airport, there was none of that. When I landed in Vegas on my way back, they did say, hey, we'll do this, but it was optional. You could opt out of it. So
but not even optional. They should see you walking off, coming to the airport where they'd be like, okay, this person.
Nah, I don't know if you want to go that route.
They scan them to see. They scan them. They have any weapons or anything. That's it.
I guess.
You know how much money they make?
Oh, they probably make a shit ton of money for that. All right. So anyway, we land in Vegas. Everything was good. First day, $4,500, $4,600. I hit. Boom, right out of the gate.
How was the weather? How was the weather?
Weather didn't rain at all. It was hot. 115, 112, 111.
115?
115. Yeah, that was about so. But we were inside most of the day, doing stuff because we were traveling a lot. Went in the pool, but we were doing stuff. I was in a casino. First day, $4,500, $4,100, $4,200. I forget what it was. Came out, Landon's birthday 3 times in a row. Hit it, max bet, done, out.
Back to back, belly to belly.
I went with Kevin Ioli to the UFC headquarters where we had a phenomenal time with Dana White. Dana White's a tremendous guy. It was not what I expected. I thought he'd be one picture and out or whatever. Took me on his tour of his whole.
What was the most impressive thing that you saw there that you were just blown away? Not just talking to him and all that, but just blown away. Like, holy.
The performance center.
Okay, so you did.
I mean, it was
Did you see the
incredible.
Apex?
I didn't. It was just the Performance Institute was right there. It was like everything. It was
it's
all
right
top.
there. Yeah.
That's where the headquarters is. So you go to the headquarters and you work your way through. There was a couple fighters there. I didn't know who they were. One's really small girl, and another fighter. He looked like he was about a welterweight. So we went there, and just the whole Mark Ratner was the one who met me first. He met us out there with Kevin. They were talking. They were, they've known each other for, the better part of 2 decades, and then probably longer than that. And then I got to see Dana. He was up having a meeting. We came out. We talked to him, and then he just invited me into his office, and we just started talking. Got up a great relationship, and where it goes from here, I don't know. I mean, this guy's a busy guy. I mean, he's
Now I've seen videos and pictures before. Does he have all those shoes just laying out there? Did you see the shoes? His sneakers?
No, I mean, I didn't go. He doesn't have that. I didn't see. I wasn't sure, but I knew there's when he took me into his office, he went to where he dressed. There's like a dressing room. It was all lined up with clothes and shit. So maybe that's where it was. I'm not sure, because then he went down the hall. There was his room where he gets a massage, his sauna, his ice plunge, and then it was his kitchen.
Okay.
And it was just
the Fuck It Friday, right? Or whatever it is called.
Yeah, that's right. It was nice. It was really nice. So that was really cool. I thought that was awesome. Pretty much that was it. We just talked business. I met his kids. Kids were great.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't expect that. I could tell you that. I did not expect Dana to be. I mean, you've got to figure Dana's a billionaire. I mean, or close to it. He's running, and I thought he was going to be in Abu Dhabi, because the fights were over in Abu Dhabi.
And the week prior was Manchester.
So, I mean, he was just saying, like, I'm at a point in my life where I do what I feel I want to do or is necessary, because I want to kind of live life a little bit. And he's, making a lot of investments, which after that, we went to Irv's Burgers, where he's made an investment in. I'm down at Durango with the casino, went there. Durango Casino is impeccable. Clean like you wouldn't believe. Impeccable.
Two things. So when you were with Dana, did you tell him that you interviewed the Crazy Hawaiian?
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He is pretty. The Crazy Hawaiian. It's not that he doesn't have a relationship with him, but Slap League is just starting to take off. So he's kind of and I told him about it. I said, hey, he talks very highly of you, and he's like, he's a good kid, So. In that scenario. Oh, Kevin Ioli has jumped on here. The podcast. He just says, "Let's go." Kevin, if you're out there, by the way, thank you very much for the hospitality. And no, it wasn't Coach Diz, but still, Kevin's. He invited us everywhere. We went. We had a great day. He has an awesome vehicle, by the way, all electric. Thing you could see face recognition when you open the car door. Pretty cool dude. Wow. I mean, and just in general, the place was a great place to be.
What was the restaurant called that you went to?
Sinatra's. Okay. And the other one we went to, I forget the name of it. It was a steakhouse though. But then Irv's Burgers. That's I like that better. Mm-hmm. And I think Kevin realized that I'm a simple guy. Oh, there was another one called Pasta something. That was good. But like something like Sinatra's was, they had the glass when you pour the glass. And it has picture on the top of it. Pretty cool. Pretty cool for $45 a glass. But it was a nice place there. If Kevin is on, he could jump on. I mean, I'll put the link I will put the link here to see if he wants to jump on.
What time is it over there? 1, 2?
I don't know. What is the time here? It's a 3-hour difference.
Now you can another thing too. Dana with his employees. Mm-hmm. All that stuff that was going on in COVID, not laying
top
off
of the
everybody.
line.
Can you
top
see?
Of the line.
Can you see
the way he treats his people?
Mm-hmm.
Can't jump on now. Have an interview soon. All right. Well, I put it on there for him. Can't jump on. He's have you seen Kevin's YouTube channel exploding? Dana White's interview almost going to reach 100,000 views in only a week's time.
Wow.
It was a big one that was a big one, big get. We're still trying to get Kevin to put the old wink in there to get Dana White to pop on here as we are drowning. But overall, it was a great time in Vegas. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Okay.
I got to spend time with my wife. Much needed time away from the shop. And again, we're just doing this video here because we have to see if this lag thing is still there. Kevin, if you're still on there, can you see if that lag is still there or not? Because I can't do it on my YouTube channel. I know you've been out of the loop, Diz, but give me what you had some questions for me. Keep shoot. Go ahead and shoot.
I'll shoot a couple. First, what do you think of Canelo versus Edgar?
Okay, no lags. That's good. What do I think of it? I think not deserved. I will tell you that. But I think it's going to be an interesting fight, and I'll tell you why. I think Berlanga is a young, vibrant kid who might get. I don't think he's going to be able to take Canelo's punch because he doesn't have the greatest chin, Berlanga. I don't think. He's been down a couple times. But he's going to sell the fight. He's going to sell this fight. It's going to be a fight that's going to be watched. But I do feel a lot of people are going to focus in on UFC. I don't know why they would do it up against UFC.
I know.
Canelo seems to think that Canelo is a different breed, and he is. But my point is his sales have slipped. His pay-per-view numbers have gone down. There's a point here where it's going to be oversaturation with just fights and pay-per-view numbers. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens there? I don't know, because they're going to start stealing this crap. And at some point, obviously they're stealing $20-30 million worth of sales. And also we got to talk about the Crawford fight. But they're stealing all these pay-per-views. How much more can you really go without fixing the issue?
I don't know, because he had the advantage because he's a Mexican fighter and Mexican fans will go see him. But UFC had the whole card stacked with Mexicans, so it's like, wow.
Yeah, but the Sphere is going to be the experience. Yeah, that's that experience. Mm-hmm. They don't have it. They don't have, the draw. Oh, do you know what was the main event? I forget.
Of what?
The Sphere card. Kev, if you're there, help me out.
Isn't it O'Malley Merab?
Oh, that's right. Good. I think Merab's going to beat him. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think. But either way, Canelo. I think the fight should be interesting for as long UFC Noche. Yes, UFC Noche. O'Malley. That's right. Kevin thinks O'Malley's going to win. Good Lord, Kevin, is that your prediction? Who wins? And I know O'Malley's a good friend of yours, but I mean, come on, Kev, don't do that. But my point with that is Berlanga is. Oh wow, he does think O'Malley's going to win. I don't. The point is Berlanga's a good Puerto Rican fighter, but like De La Hoya said, he's not really Puerto Rican. He's born in the Bronx.
Yep.
The Cotos, the Trinidads, they're from
Puerto Rico.
They come over. They fight differently than the Puerto Ricans, and as we would know here in the States. Mm-hmm. Puerto Ricans down in there. Coach Diz is carrying the show. Kevin.
What else?
So I think that he's a different fighter. I like Berlanga. I liked him. But I think he's way too overconfident going into this fight, and I think it's a money grab for him. The guy Canelo, that is the Puerto Rican guy that's coming up is Xander Zayas. That's the guy the Puerto Ricans are going to go behind. And I think Callum Walsh and Xander are the fight that they're building up here, whether it could be on Puerto Rican Day Parade weekend or the St. Patrick's Day Parade weekend. They both sell pretty good there. What else, Coach? What do you got?
Just with the Sheik talking about Crawford versus Ortiz. Was it Ortiz? No.
Well, I don't know about that anymore. Virgil Ortiz over the weekend had a tough fight. That was a tough fight.
All right, but didn't he have a big layoff? He was.
Well, no. He just knocked the guy out in the first round not long ago. Ortiz, I think, walked in against Sergey thinking that he was going to walk through him, and when Sergey's a tough fighter. Mm-hmm. And when he was able to take the punch and not go down, he got knocked down twice, Ortiz. It was close, and I talked to Kevin off record before this, and he said it was close, could have gone either way or draw. A very close fight, but I don't know if it was a weight issue, conditioning issue, or whatever. Ortiz was put up against it. Now, how he comes back in his next fight will determine the route that Ortiz takes, because some people learn from this, and he's got a great trainer and a great team. Other people can't find the tools in the bag after this happens, and they're the aura of invincibility gone. Not that he lost, but that aura of invincibility of one punch, he's out of there. It happens to everyone. No one knocks everybody out.
Yeah.
Even when Michael Mora, he went on that. He the first Mike the Giant White was the first person he never knocked out, and it depends on what happens there.
Now go to back to the Crawford fight. I think.
Whoa.
That just showed you that Crawford, me personally, that Canelo's just too much to bite for Crawford.
I think it's too big of a jump. Big of a jump. That showed you at 154. Here's a guy. Totally different. Israel Makachev. How does he say his name? Israel Makachev.
I don't know how to pronounce. You're better with names than I am. So.
But my God, I forget how his name is. Oh, man. Oh, well, anyway, I call him Izzy. Izzy showed he's a tough fighter. Now, he punches from different angles. He's coming all over the place. But Crawford boxed incredibly.
But he was getting hit with the right hand. He was getting hit with the straight right hand.
Yeah.
And do you think Canelo's going to – and the reason – I don't know why he didn't switch back. He was always southpaw. He should have switched back. He stays southpaw.
Usually he does that when he's winning the fight. If he felt he was winning southpaw, he usually stays that way. He used to do that in the amateurs a lot too. If he was winning a certain way, he would stay that way. And
now people are questioning him. Come on,
they do that after. That's a tough fight. That guy was tough, tough guy. Israel's
he was a champion for no reason. He was a champion for a reason. He was a champion for a reason. I mean,
and and then I think ultimately this sets up a different fight for Crawford, not Canelo. Plus, Turkey Al-Sheikh getting into it with Canelo. That's not gonna happen. I saw Tim Tszyu got into it with Turkey Al-Sheikh. I'm thinking, holy crap, there's a lot of stuff happening here with this guy. He's disrupting a lot of stuff in boxing. Really disrupting. So that was the fights over the weekend. Did you happen to see Angela Leo knockout over the weekend?
You were talking about that earlier.
Good Lord. That was a knockout if I've ever seen it. I think I'm going to put it up on the screen here if I can in a second. It was a knockout. Again, guys, this is why you got to have that technical ability of when you're throwing a punch to really have your hands back. There was the ending of the fight. I'll put it up when it happens. There's the knockdown. Watch how he comes in. That is a perfect punch.
He was waiting for that receipt. He was
waiting, bang, good night. And I'm going to get flagged for that if I don't take that down quick. But great fight. Angela Leo shows, hey man, I belong in this next echelon of fighters. World champion, first world title. Tremendous. And it was a bit of an upset, I thought. But someone else is coming on now. I don't know who this is, and who possibly could this be? Oh, look who it is.
Oh,
Kevin Ioli from KevinIoli.com. Joins
What's up, guys?
Going on.
What's up, Kevin? What did you think of the fights over the weekend?
I thought the Virgil Ortiz fight was probably fight of the year, and the knockout by oh my God, Lopez. What a KO that was.
I just put it up on the screen. Angela Leo landed that punch, and he was out before he hit the canvas. Him bouncing off the canvas didn't help his cause much. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's where you get concussions from those. But yeah, it was great to see. I mean, I thought the UFC show wasn't as great on Saturday as they've been. They've had a number of good shows. I didn't think Saturday show was the strongest show that they put on. And boom, that Ortiz Bohachuk. What? I mean, we got to give Bohachuk credit. I mean, my Lord, he fought a great fight.
But he's a tough fighter. I think Ortiz either took him a little bit lightly because they were banking on this Crawford fight coming down the pipe right after that. He's a tough fighter. And
Yeah, he's a guy. He's physically strong. Obviously, I didn't know his chin was as good as it was. He handled Brian Mendoza pretty
yeah,
easily. But I didn't know that his chin was that good. But boy, he showed up a really good chin because Ortiz can crack. Ortiz can legitimately punch. Sometimes you get guys with these big knocks, like Berlanga, right? You were talking about Berlanga before. Berlanga's not a big puncher, right? But he has this reputation because of the knockout streak at the beginning of his career.
mm-hmm.
But Virgil can legitimately flat out punch, and Bohacic just not only took it, but he walked right through it. And so I was really impressed with that. And and I was impressed with Sergey. I think he is a guy to watch in that division, and he's going to have a lot of really good fights.
Let me jump off that real quick. Go back to the Crawford fight, where Crawford went in with a guy who took. Now he usually Crawford knocks these guys out. Does this now switch your opinion of him going to fight Canelo, if you had one of him fighting Canelo, or does that kind of upset the apple cart a little bit?
Yeah, I think the fact that could he beat Canelo? Yes, but I think it's less likely now than it was before, right? I think because he had trouble moving Madrimov, and I said this to you, and I said this, I wrote this. Madrimov is really, really good. Like, people don't realize how good he is, and Jim Lampley said, like, when Madrimov fought on the March 8th card in Saudi Arabia, I was doing the chat that day on payperview.com with Jim Lampley, and he wasn't familiar with Madrimov, and I told him some stuff about Madrimov off the air. And so when he watched him, he texted me and then later said on the air, he reminds me of Gennady Golovkin, right? And I think that was a really good comparison, but it shows you how how impressive Madrimov was. So I think the fact that Crawford didn't knock out Madrimov does not diminish Crawford in any way, but I do think it shows that maybe he's hit his level. Could he win a title at 160? I think if you put him in with a Lara Danny Garcia winner, of course, he would beat whoever that is, and he would win a middleweight title, and then he would have championships in 5 weight classes. Mm-hmm. And there's only a handful of guys who have ever done that in history. He's right now at 4, and I want to say there's 26 that have done it 4 times. And if I remember correctly, at 5, Oscar De La Hoya, Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns, Manny Pacquiao, who has the most, and I think that might be it. So that's saying something.
Yeah, he definitely overlooked in how he's been coming up to the next ranking. Kevin, what's coming down the pipe that you're looking forward to here, and what stories have you been writing out at kevinoli.com?
Well, UFC 305 is this week, and I think that's going to be phenomenal. Really looking forward to that show. There's a lot of. I hate when promoters do this and they say there's bad blood between these two guys, and there's almost never bad blood between them, right? These fighters. You guys know how these fighters are. They have respect for anybody who steps in the ring, and they're not like that. But Adesanya and Dricus du Plessis definitely do not like each other. And I think that that's going to create a lot of emotion, both in the press conference is going to be crazy, right? I think that, you're going to see that be really entertaining. And that'll be fun. And then the fight itself, I think, is going to have a lot of people on the edge of their seats. I think they're both strikers. I think it should be a really fun bout the way it goes. Boxing wise this week, I'm really interested in seeing Christian and Billy. He is a guy that I think he's not at that top level yet. He has one more step to make, but he to me, he would have been a better opponent for Canelo than Berlanga, right? If Berlanga was, and he's not really Puerto Rican, he's from Brooklyn, right? But if he wasn't considered Puerto Rican and we didn't have the Mexico-Puerto Rico rivalry that we do, I think you would have seen Canelo pick somebody else, but he picked Berlanga for that reason. He wanted to have the rivalry and bring out the fans to see a Mexican guy beat a Puerto Rican guy. That's pretty much what he did. Christian and Billy is fighting Sergey Derevchenko on Saturday on ESPN. And Derevchenko is not the fighter that he was, but he is an exciting guy who brings it. And I think that's that's going to be a fun fight. And I think if Billy to be the guy that I think he can be, he's got to win this fight impressively. And I think if not stop Derevyanchenko, but kind of beat him up and have a no doubts decision victory.
Now, Kevin, you interviewed a DDP there on your show. Did you get any tension? Did you feel that he has legit tension towards Adesanya? I mean, legitimate tension, because they're trying to base this a little bit. It almost sounded like racial undertones, which I thought was a wrong way to play that. But
I asked the question, I used the phrase racial undertones, and the reason that I asked that, I don't like, to me that's cheap heat, right? And I don't like to do that, and I rarely will ask a question like that. But that was at UFC 290 when Adesanya was the champion. Adesanya was the champion, and Dricus had just beaten Robert Whittaker. Adesanya went into the ring, and then they had that kind of moment in the ring. And then afterwards, John Morgan asked the question to Dana White. He said, "I think there were racial overtones to this fight." And Dana really, did not like that, and said there weren't. But then that kind of got that question rolling, and both Israel and Dricus talked about it. And so I personally, I don't understand why there would be racial overtones in this, but I think that, they made it an issue, and I think that they both feel strongly in their position. Adesanya's position is, hey, I'm born in Africa, and I won a world championship. I'm from Africa, and I get that, right? But he moved away, and he developed as a fighter in other places. Dricus's thing is, hey, I was born in Africa. I still live in Africa. I won a championship and I'm the real African, stealing the Hulk Hogan line. I'm the real American, right? And I think that's where, where the thing goes. And to me, I don't think, he meant any, racial thing by it, but Israel took it that way.
Now, Coach Diz, I don't want to steal the show here. I know you.
No, I got a question. I got a question for Kevin.
Go ahead.
So, with the Olympics ending this past weekend, what's your opinion with boxing not in the Olympics anymore?
Ooh.
Well, I think there's a chance it could still happen, but I think it would be terrible if it didn't. And it would really hurt the sport. And I mean, look at fighters like Madrimov, right? Madrimov won a world title in his 9th pro fight, or 8th pro fight. And, that's because he fought 350 times in the amateurs. And we need those amateur fighters to come into the sport to have a pipeline. And it's kind of like the Olympic guys tend to be like the first round picks in the NBA or the NFL, right? You're getting the elite of the elite, and you're bringing them in, and they don't all pan out, but just like first round quarterbacks don't all pan out, right? In Philadelphia, they got stuck with Kenny Pickett now, used to be with the Steelers. Now you got stuck with him. So we don't need it. We don't need him anymore. But you know how it works, right? So I think that, it would be sad for boxing if it didn't, but if it doesn't work out, boxing people have to look in the mirror, because they were fucking corrupt and for so long, and they couldn't handle their own sport. And that is why this damn thing has fallen to where it did. And I think that, they have to get their act together, and it's a multi-pronged approach. It's not one thing, but they can't let that happen.
Yeah. George, what about you?
I just think it seems, when's the last time? I remember even growing up, and winning an Olympic gold was like at least $100,000 guarantee, signing bonus, because boxing is a poor man's sport. You try to get there, and going through the Olympic system, it's not even that expensive to fight. What do you really need? There's no travel teams and stuff like that. When you get to that level, maybe, but it is such a disservice. And, Kevin, you say the corruptness, but that leaks into the professional ranks just the same. You have governing bodies. I know that there was a fighter who was picked to go on the Olympic team, and they picked another guy who beat him. It's so out of control that why not have just have one tournament to have people get in, and that's the tournament to become it's so almost not biased, but like it's so subjective. That's what I mean. It's subjective
Yeah.
to say this guy
I'm
goes
not
there.
against them redoing the criteria and whatnot, but I think that they got to come up, they got to confirm with the IOC rules, right? And you have to have a federation that's recognized by the IOC, and that's been, the IBA had been it, and they obviously weren't doing a very good job of it. I think that they need to get that fixed, but they had so many issues, right? And you mentioned, I'm a little bit older than the two of you guys, right? And so I grew up in a generation where they used to have dual meets between the U.S. and the Russians, or the U.S. and the Cubans, that would be televised on Saturday afternoon. You would see all the
Yeah.
fighters in all the weight classes, and they would show, they wouldn't show every single fight, in the 8 weight classes, but there would be maybe 5 of the fights shown full, and then highlights of the other ones. And so that's how we got to know Teofilo Stevenson, and and Iona Shapoulis, and some of these other fighters that were so good, because we would see them on Wide World of Sports, or whatever it happened to be. And also we got to know the American fighters, like, hey, Mike Tyson came up in the early to mid 80s, and he was fighting, and I remember at Caesar's Palace they had there was a dual meet, and it was a U.S. National championship, and Iron Mike fought Henry Tillman in that. And that that was and so people get to know the fighters. They got to know Sugar Ray Leonard before he was a pro, and it was like, it's nice to be a fan of his after the 7-Up commercial, and after he's on the cover of Sports Illustrated, he won the gold medal. But back in the day, we used to know who they were as they were amateurs coming up, and I think that's what boxing will miss if it goes away.
Kevin, back home, they used to have the New York Daily News Golden Gloves, and they
Yes.
would have pages. They'd be on MSG Network. They're like the finals and everything else. I mean, we used to walk to see who was fighting who, and they had the whole card put on there. It's so far gone from that now. I don't think even they changed the name to now Ringmasters Golden Gloves. Daily News is no longer the Daily News Golden Gloves,
Right.
the most prestigious Golden Glove tournament. Let's take that on a professional level with the pay-per-view we were just talking about a little bit. Can they keep losing all this money in pay-per-view before they say, okay, enough's enough?
Well, you think about it, pay-per-view as we know it today has come in. I think Foreman and Holyfield was the first real, what's considered the real pay-per-view. I think that was 91. So
91.
Yeah, 91. So we're doing 33 years now of pay-per-views. And hundreds of millions of dollars have been spilled in those periods of time, and there have been a few of the fights that it made money. The Mayweather Pacquiao fight was huge. The Mayweather McGregor fight was huge. And, there have been some, obviously, Holyfield, Tyson, Lewis, Holyfield, Lewis, Tyson, there've been a few of them that have done well, but most of them have been losers, right, over the years. And there's always been somebody willing to step up and take it. I think the concern, if you're, in the short term, boxing is not going anywhere. But in the long term, as the UFC continues to grow, the UFC has already surpassed boxing in terms of popularity and, and viewership and all that other stuff, right? But now if it starts taking all the athletes away, because if the athletes start saying, hey, I want to be in combat sports, but I'm going to fight MMA because there's more of a chance of me making it big in MMA and making more money, that's what they're going to do, right?
Right.
Especially heavyweights, right? Heavyweights are the X factor, and people, because if you're a heavyweight, you're the baddest man on the planet, right? Nobody can beat you. If you're 147-pound, champion, there's some guy out there who says, yeah, I can beat Bud Crawford, right? You can't, but you think he can, right? But he knows, if it's 6'8", 270-pound Vladimir Klitschko or whatever, he's not beating that guy, right? And so that's why the heavyweight champion has always been so important. And I just think that, if MMA starts taking those athletes away, that's going to kill boxing. So boxing needs to get its house in order. You and I, George, have talked a lot about this on podcasts, different times I've been on with you. I think there's a lot of really good stuff going on in boxing, a lot of really good young fighters. I heard you guys mention Xander Zayas before, a terrific young talent. I don't like his manager, but I think he is a very, very good fighter. But we need to keep that going, right? Because it's not long before Xander Zayas is a veteran, then out of the sport, who's coming behind him, and you have to keep that pipeline always coming. And it may be that, now heavyweights are good, then welterweights are good, then middleweights are good, but there's always got to be a slew of talent coming into the sport, and that's cyclical. But without the amateur system producing, that makes me wonder if MMA is going to even get its hooks in even deeper.
Oh, look at this, Michelle Norse, my two favorites, Coach Diz and Kevin, with a heart.
Michelle, you are the best.
No.
Now we're going to get Fred come on here, and then we.
That's it. George is done.
I might as well wrap it up there on that. But either way, Kevin, again, the hospitality you showed us in Vegas, it was tremendous. I really enjoyed going out there. It was good finally meeting you. And you hooking me up with Dana. How was that possible that I got a tour you couldn't get?
Yeah, so I was standing there I don't know if you told the story, but for people who don't know, Dana was touring George around, and Mark Ratner, who works for the UFC, and I were on the tour, but Dana has George and he's showing him around the places, and we were in Dana's private gym, and we're standing there and we're looking in one direction, and all of a sudden I hear ba-boom, the door closed behind us. And we walk over, and Ratner goes, "Uh-oh." And I said, "What's the matter?" He goes, "Dana's the only one that has a key to that door, and his finger's the only one that works." At which point, I texted Dana and said, "Hey, we're outside the door here." He never responded, and him and George went walking around, and Mark and I were standing out in the hallway, just waiting.
Wow.
It was a tremendous thing. Thanks to you, Kevin. Hey, you came through there. Who would have thought? Coach Diz reaching out to Kevin Iole a year ago would have landed me in the office, private office of Dana White.
So was Coach Diz the one that reached out to me first, or was it
initially? Well, he told me to reach out to you, and I said, I don't know if Kevin will come on. I said, I don't know if he'll come on, and I'm like, I don't know, I'll try, and I did, and next thing you know, boom, we were just trying to get a list together of people who were big in the sport, and we just tried to get somebody. And
I don't know if you know this, so George, I thought the reason I was pretty sure it was you that reached out to me. I got a message on Facebook Messenger, which I hardly ever check, and I saw it that day, and it was from George. He said, "Would you come on my podcast?" And I said, "Yes. When do you want to do it?" And he did not respond. And then another day, I was posting. Usually, what I do on Facebook is I post my story and I get the hell off, and I'm not on Facebook too often, right? And I posted my story, and I looked in the upper corner because I was on my computer, and I saw the one under the messenger. So I clicked it, and it was George again, and he asked me the same question, and I said, "Well, didn't I say yes before?" Well, so I know if Diz had asked me, it would have been taken care of right away.
Right out of the gate. Well, Kev, what's coming up on KevinIole.com? I know, and you know what? You can't just go now with just your website. Your YouTube channel blowing up, way past 10,000 subscribers. What do you got coming down the pipe?
Well, working on the Top Rank show this week, and I'll be writing a lot of UFC 305 content, PFL playoffs. I did yesterday. I post 2 interviews on my YouTube channel. Both of them I thought were great. Caio Borralho, UFC fighter. I got him talking about Dana White's Contender Series. I'll be covering that tomorrow night in Las Vegas. He had a lot. He made a pick on the Duplessis Adesanya fight. Also talked about his main event. But I had a great time interviewing Biagio Ali Walsh, who is Muhammad Ali's grandson. And I tried to make a joke at the beginning. So the interview was like a 10 of 10, except for maybe the cringe first 90 seconds when because I figured Biagio is always going to get introduced as the grandson of Muhammad Ali, right? So I said some goofy line about, how famous this guy is, and he has a famous relative. Of course, I'm talking about Nico Ali Walsh, and it stumbled out of my mouth, and it didn't come out the way I wanted it to come out. And I think so. The first 90 seconds, but then he gave me phenomenal stuff, and so he's fighting in he's not in the PFL playoffs, but he's on the card in the PFL playoffs. So the video is up on my YouTube channel, and I'll have a story on him later this week.
Yeah, those were 2 great interviews. And honestly, Kevin, the Dana White one is getting picked up by a ton of outlets because of the John Jones, the one that you pushed back on him.
The pound
jeez. Yeah, that was a good one. Coach,
we had fun. So That's
You
it.
got anything coming up to Coach Diz?
No, I just got another quick question. If you see Sean O'Malley winning, who do you think's going to fight next?
That's interesting. I think it's, Dana told me, I put this out there and a lot of people didn't pick it up, but after O'Malley or after Umar Nurmagomedov beat Corey Sandhagen, I texted Dana and I said, is Umar get the Sean and Merab winner? And he said, yes. So, now that things can change, right? But as of that particular date, that was the fight that, that he said. So I think the O'Malley Merab winner will fight Umar Nurmagomedov, which will be a really fun fight. And then that might be Umar.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
I just don't see. I just don't see. I don't think Sean O'Malley. I don't know. You guys got to convince me. You got to convince me.
I don't think Sean O'Malley's going to win.
I think O'Malley's going to win. And the reason I think he's going to win is he has such great footwork. He's so quick and he's such an accurate striker. Merab's got the great wrestling. And if he gets O'Malley down, that's going to be a problem for him. But Merab is very hittable.
Yes.
Like Henry Cejudo was touching him up early in their fight, before Merab got his hands on him. And that totally changed the angle of the fight. And I just think O'Malley is such a sharpshooter that I think he's going to hurt Merab, kind of be at a distance. But, it's one of those fights. It's like, I like O'Malley and I like O'Malley strong to win the fight. But I realize, this isn't, like a lot of these fights that are, 20-1 or 30-1 favorites. Like these are guys that are very close for a reason. So, I lean toward O'Malley, but if Merab wins the fight, you can't be shocked.
Well, Kevin, as always, KevinO'Malley.com. Great to have you on, as always. And again, I want to personally thank you. I didn't get to say it there enough. Thank you so much for the
Well, you're welcome, and it was fun to be with you guys, and it was nice to meet Nick and Michelle as well.
They were, and Joseph wasn't there. He wanted to meet you, but next time, Kevin, I may surprise you. It might just be me and Diz.
Whoa! Well, we'll go to a hockey game as long as it's not the Flyers.
That's fine.
Oh, that's fine. We'll go to that.
Guys.
Kevin, as always, KevinO'Malley.com. Go to see them. Kevin, thanks for joining us. Diz,
yeah,
I'm gonna wrap it up again. That was good. You had that. We should have a betting show. Have these fights on there. We should have a betting show there. I still don't don't like O'Malley in that fight.
No, I think Rob's gonna just wrestle him, just take him down. But hey, he was right.
He's been right on. Yeah, I'm so way off. It's not even funny. But Coach Diz, let's wrap this up. Anything else on your end?
Just Little League World Series this week.
Oh, that's right. I talked to Mayor Slaughter. He may be coming on at some point. I'm gonna try to get him this week. I have another guest, Mark Ratner, coming on soon. We'll get with him. Other than that, well, that seems like to be it. It seems like the stream went well. This is what I have to do. Put this in. Evidently, Michelle is in love with Kevin with the heart, and not me, her husband. But either way, remember, don't be envious of what I've accomplished in my life. Be inspired by what you can do in yours. We will see you next time and more often. Thank you, guys. See you, Diz.
Yeah.